So, do you remember when I said this in my live stream? Now this is what's interesting me. Here. Now is this a piece of Necron Terrain? Well, I was right. New Necrons 40k are getting some new Necron Terrain. And they revealed 26 pages of the core rule book. And it's coming right up.
Necrons!
Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. And if you love Necrons but you also like Imperial Knights, Thousand Suns or Zinch Demons, then why not check out my buddy's channel, Nick, from Old Average Brit Gaming. Yes, his name's Nick too. There's a link to his channel in the description below. Plus, if you're not subscribed to me, then why not give me a sub too, because it really helps my channel grow. Okay, so I'm very excited that Necrons are getting a new, cool looking set of terrain, and I'm going to have a close look at this terrain set in a minute. First of all though, I want to talk about the core rules which have been revealed by Games Workshop. I've had a good read of these core rules and everything seems to be pretty sensible to me. There were 5 things that stood out, so I want to talk about those things very briefly here, and then we'll move on to the Necron Terrain. The first thing I want to talk about is the new 5-inch vertical range for engagement and coherency. I think this is a good thing and obviously stops a few shenanigans regarding being able to assault someone who's on a shelf. Obviously they've gone for 5 inches because a lot of their buildings have 2 shelves at 3 inches high. So if you're on the second shelf, then obviously that puts you out of that engagement range. I think it's a good move by Games Workshop, and I hope it will add something to the game that we don't currently have. The second thing I want to talk about, which is going to affect our Necrons, is the new fly special rule, not being able to fall back and shoot. Luckily, we now have the Royal Warden, which can help units fall back and shoot, so that's a bonus. And it's also nice to see, like a lot of other of our special rules, that the range is 9 inches rather than 6, so a range increase on those rules is great. Now, am I talking about rules I shouldn't be? I'm not sure, but have you noticed how every other YouTuber in our community seems to have the Odomatus box set already? Well, except for me. The third thing I want to talk about is unit coherency, which is going to change not just the game but how the game looks on the table, which I think it will look a lot more cinematic with the new coherency rules, stopping the daisy chaining, or at least a lot of the daisy chaining is going to be reduced. It's going to look better on the table, but not only that, I think it's going to help the game as well. Now admittedly, I think this rule for new players may catch some of them off guard because, well, until you really know this rule very well, you could accidentally remove models which, well, could be quite costly. So that's the only drawback with this rule. It's not exactly user friendly and potentially it might slow the game down, but overall anything which stops shenanigans, well, it has to be a good thing. And that does bring me on to point number 4, and that is the new assault range of 1/2 inch within 1/2 inch, just clarifying that it's only those models which are very close to the assault which will actually get to attack. Now, whilst they made 8th edition more assault based than they did in previous editions, well, except for 4th edition, I always found there were too many shenanigans around the assault with pile-in and consolidation and all sorts of movement. Well, hopefully these new rules will stop that with both the coherency and also the new 1/2 inch within 1/2 inch. The 5th thing which I noticed was who assaults first. So all new assaults happen in the standard way. However, it's then passed to your opponent to choose the next unit, where it used to be you, which I think is quite a big change. If your opponent is an assault with a hard-hitting unit, he can try to reduce the numbers of that units down before they attack for the second time. So I think that's quite a good move from Games Workshop. So those are the things that stood out to me, but what stands out to you? What do you think of the new core rules? Let me know in the comments box below. Right, now it's time for the exciting part of the video, the new Necron Terrain.
Necrons!
Okay, so we're back to the Warhammer community previews. They've announced 26 pages of core rules free to download. That's happened because, well, there's too many leaks out there and Games Workshop want to say, look at me, don't look at the leaks. Fair enough. Okay, so next we've got new kits for Space Marines and Necrons, say no more. And first up is the Fal Bunker for the Space Marines. Basically, it's a cheesecake. Oh, hold on, in this picture it looks like a carrot cake. Either way, we don't care about this. All we care about is the Necron Terrain. Although it is interesting that they've got at least some rules released in this preview, which sadly the Necrons don't. However, we've got these. Oh my god, these are awesome. I'm absolutely loving these obelisks. I really like them. I mean, I've been waiting for Necron Terrain from Games Workshop for a very long time. I've always said they should make more terrain, and well, I have to say that these are probably my favourite thing out of all of the Necron releases that I've seen so far for 9th edition. I'm absolutely loving these and I can't wait to get hold of them. Let's look at them in more detail in a second, but first of all, let's read what Games Workshop say. Of course, the Space Marines aren't getting things all their own way. The Necrons have some fortifications too. In the elaborately named Convergence of Dominion. Why have they named that? It doesn't sound like a Necron name whatsoever. Anyway, if the Fal Bunker is straightforward and brutal, the Convergence of Dominion is esoteric and deadly. Ancient Guardian Stones, these remnants from the Necrons' ancient empire, have begun to awaken with deadly effect. I'm really liking the idea of these things sort of coming up from the ground, awakening as the Necrons awake. Very cool vision of these, and I think the models themselves match that vision very well indeed. Each Convergence of Dominion consists of 3 star steel. They're the big obelisk type things. Okay, so Convergence of Dominion basically is 3 of these obelisks. Now, whether we have to deploy them together, maybe they have to be a certain amount of inches apart. Sadly, we've got no rule, so we're just guessing here. And maybe you can just place them anywhere you like on the table. As I said, we really don't know, but reading on it says, which are seriously durable and armed with impressively deadly transdimensional abductors. That sounds pretty nasty. Let's hope these terrain pieces really do have some very cool guns, because it would be great to make them playable as well as looking good. I mean, I'm going to get them regardless of the rules because I just think they look super cool. However, good rules would be great. They then continue to say, even better, they bolster units from your dynasty that are nearby, and with the help of a cryptic, they can perform translocation protocols to redeploy across the battlefield. Yeah, these are great. Well, they certainly sound great, Games Workshop. Okay, so they can bolster units from your dynasty that are nearby. Bolster. That's an interesting word. Does that mean that they give them things like invulnerable save? Or does it mean they increase some of their stats? And then, of course, it says that cryptics can perform translocation protocols to redeploy across the battlefield. Now, I've always said that Necrons should go back to how they used to be, with the ability to teleport across the board a lot easier than we have now. The Veil of Darkness now is just once use. It used to be once per turn. And then the Monolith had the ability to teleport units around the table to redo their reanimation protocol and come back out of the Monolith. We definitely could move a lot easier than we can now. So to have an ability to basically redeploy a unit from the cryptic, we don't know how, we don't know when, we don't know how many times we can do it, but it sounds very promising to me. Okay, so putting rules aside, let's have a really good look at these things because well, I think these are extraordinarily cool. I'm really liking them. Super fantastic job, Games Workshop, and I'm loving the fact that we've got 3 different versions of these in different states of ruins, where they could have just took the easy option and just produced one and then just duplicated it 3 times. So 3 different versions for me is great, and it just gives a lot more detail to these. I'm really liking these, how one is half broken, one's nearly broken, and of course we've almost got a full one there. And we've got a lot of detail in these things. I'm absolutely loving them. I mean, I just can't wait to get hold of these. As I said, I think I'm more excited about these than I am the rest of the new models that we've got coming. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments box below. Now here are some of my videos regarding some of my Necron Terrain, which I think you might enjoy watching next. Beam me up.